All right, Kevin.
Is Fred's not here? Can you hear me?
Fred's not coming tonight. Yeah, I can hear you. Fred's not going to be here tonight.
All right. So I guess we're calling the meeting to order. It is, I think my clock's wrong, but it looks like it's 7 o'clock on my car phone, but it may be different. So it's around 7 p.m. on 1/12/21. All right, are we good? All right, so right to commissioner updates. Any updates?
I have nothing from the COVID group.
I have nothing from CPC.
Okay, I don't, Saul, are you here?
I'm here, yep. Yeah, no, I have nothing.
Yep. All right. Well, that's 4 of a kind because I have nothing either. So I think we all won that hand. All right. So we're moving on to, nope. Is it the minutes now? So acceptance of the minutes for the last December Parks Commission meeting?
You got it. December 8th, 2020.
Did everybody read
Right.
them?
I read mine.
I read mine.
All right. Can we get a motion to accept the minutes of the December 8th Parks Commission meeting?
I make a motion to accept the minutes from the December 8th, 2020 Park Commission meeting.
Second.
All right. All those in favor. So we got to do a roll call, right? So Saul?
Roll call. Yeah, thank you.
Saul is yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Mike?
Mike is yes.
And Kevin is a yes as well. And next time I'll ask if there's any discussion about the minutes. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Do you, can you see all of us or are you only just seeing like a little component of it? Because I think Tim was sharing the PowerPoint.
Okay, I can hold. Oh, no, I don't want to raise my hand. Hold on. I can only see who's ever talking at the moment here. Hold on. If I change my phone, and I know there's a way that I can see everybody, but oh wait, participants? No.
Yeah, Alicia, I don't think he's only going to be able to see the talkers on his phone. He's not going to be able to see the slides.
It's okay. So we'll walk you through the slides then. Is that okay, Kevin?
I think that sounds like a fabulous plan.
Okay. So the next agenda point is the Littleton High School drama request for use of Castle in the Trees for filming a school play. And we do have Adam DeCoste on the line here to talk about what they're planning on doing. And then we can go through some questions if you all have any for and then I think essentially we have to figure out, are we going to close Castle in the Trees whilst they're doing their filming? And then what else did I have here? There was a second vote, but Adam, if you want to go ahead and take over, you can introduce yourself and just kind of talk about what you're wanting to do.
Thanks so much. I'm Adam DeCoste. If we haven't met, you probably know my dad. But I am directing the high school play this spring, and instead of doing anything in person, we are making a movie essentially of Romeo and Juliet. And part of doing that is we need a set, and we had the idea to use the playgrounds around town. So so far I've talked to the school department, and they are letting us use those playgrounds, hopefully particularly Shaker Lane. But Castle in the Trees is really the shining jewel as far as playgrounds go in town. So it would be awesome to be able to film some scenes out there. As far as schedule goes, our rehearsal schedule is right now at 3 days a week on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. We haven't even auditioned yet though, so this is still down the line. The earliest we'd be rehearsing outside is March, and the latest we'd need it is the middle of April. We're hoping to be done with filming and everything before April break, but we're holding on to that as or hoping the kids can hold April break in case we need to film anything extra. Because with our luck, it'll rain every day we plan to shoot. So we're hoping to also only film 3 days a week and kind of keep to as much of a regular schedule as possible, possibly using a Saturday at least a couple of times in there to, get some more daylight in. But we haven't set anything in stone yet, and partly because we wanted to make sure we had these options available to us. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I think that's my spiel, though.
I had a question. Sorry. Saul,
No, go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead.
So, and I'm sure, I know it's in its infancy, sort of like the planning and everything, but I assume that Castle in the Trees is probably going to be like the main set. And like, what do you envision the amount of time that you need to be filming, and I assume we would need to close it so that, you don't have little kids running in the background of things that you're trying to do.
I don't know. Maybe the kids would add something that I didn't expect. To be honest. But yeah, that would be the idea, is to close it down, just for continuity's sake. We would be going right after school. Well, sort of right after school. 3:30 is when I'm able to get to rehearsal. So that's when we're going to be starting rehearsals, and likely when we'd start the process of filming. And I think we're really only betting on having 2 hours of daylight. So we'd need it from of good daylight for filming at least. And so 3:30 to 5:30 would be when we would be shooting. And I don't anticipate the rehearsals being longer than that because of the same issue, daylight.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
So just to confirm, so you're thinking Monday, I think I heard Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday.
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, sorry. 3:30 to 5:30, but you had also mentioned Saturdays?
Yeah, I'm working with the principal at the high school, John Harrington, on whether it's okay to use the weekends. And I'm just kind of working out those details, because I think sports are starting to use weekends for practices, so I wanted to make sure we had the okay to do the same, but I hadn't planned on those yet. We'd need at least a couple of Saturdays for filming just to be able to get it all done in the time frame we'd like. So
what are you thinking of from a time? Because Saturdays are pretty busy for the park.
Right. For Saturdays, 3-4 hours tops would be what we'd need. And if that's too much and we need to go down to 2, then I'm sure we could do that.
What are the busy times? Do we have a schedule, Alicia? What hours in the day on Saturday are the busiest?
It totally depends. Yeah, it's really weather dependent. So the weekends absolutely are our busiest times for sure. But as far as like when people are in there, it's hit or miss. Sometimes morning, sometimes afternoon. Just kind of all. Honestly, on the weekends, it's a pretty steady stream. So if we did do something that was on a weekend, we would definitely have to close the park and make sure that we post that ahead of time.
So I've played basketball Saturday mornings, Saturday and Sundays with a group there in the mornings at 8. And I tend to think, I've seen it get pretty crowded. So a schedule could be sometime early in the morning, like at that 8 o'clock time frame. That probably work best. That's my experience, at least.
It's high school kids, Mike. They're not going to get up at 8.
I had them. We did last year. We were doing 9 o'clock rehearsals in the morning on Saturday, and They
Yeah.
drag themselves to those, so we could try.
Okay.
Do you envision using the structures as is, or are you gonna sort of decorate, or what's your plan there?
I wasn't planning on getting too fancy with things, probably using what we have as is.
Okay.
It might not be bad. I mean, even if kids were to show up and they didn't know that the park, the playground was closed, might be interesting, you know, if they're quiet to kind of see what goes on and spark a little interest in the drama program.
Sure.
Yeah.
Be the worst thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know if we'll be able to have, extras, depending on what the COVID guidelines are at that time, but there could be the potential for that as well, and having some kind of, I don't know, people in the background on some swings, so it doesn't look like we're actually using an empty park.
I think it'd be good to grow the program and get some exposure to it to the younger kids.
Definitely. And like I said, I'm hoping to also use at least the Shaker Lane playground, so I could certainly schedule something that it doesn't take Castle in the Trees 2 Saturdays in a row. I could, if I needed to use 2 Saturdays of Castle in the Trees, I could try and make sure that those were spaced out.
I think what would be helpful, if there's a way that we can somehow post a schedule, once you know what it is, especially for the Saturdays. Whether it's signage there or somehow through Park and Rec, maybe if it's just something that, a simple sign that says.
So in the past, Mike, when we've closed the park because of programming. Sorry, I think I've got a lag here at the house. It's pretty hardcore. So my apologies. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's all right. Wow.
No, but I think what Alicia was getting at is there's been postings both there and on the Facebook and social media and other places. So we've done that in the past.
Okay.
Thanks all. Adam, I did have a question. I'm guessing since you're filming, the actors are not going to be wearing masks.
We are planning on wearing masks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that answers my question then.
Yeah, it's actually might even make our audio recording a little easier because we don't have to match lips.
All right.
Added benefit to the masks.
So you're gonna do the audio separately in the.
Only if we have to, but
okay.
We're hoping to use what we get in person, but who knows? Who knows what's going to come up? So, we've got Mark Crory at LCTV and Brian O'Neill helping out with a lot of the tech things, and they've got a lot of experience with those. So, they're the dream team to have with me right now. So, if we need to call some students in to overdub, then we'll be doing it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions, comments, any concerns?
Tim, do you have any programming? Sorry. I just asked if Tim had any programming.
Go ahead, Saul.
For the spring.
No, the only thing that we have that comes up in the spring is April vacation, but we can figure that out depending on where we're going to do that. That would be the only thing that could come in. The only reason we use 300 King, but that all is weather dependent. So
I could try to prioritize the Castle in the Trees shoots for school days and days that there would be Tiger's Den at Shaker Lane still. So I'd be displacing Tiger's Den whenever I use that. So it would actually kind of probably behoove both of you for me to use school days at 300 King and breaks and weekends for Shaker Lane. So if I can work that out, I can try to do that.
Yeah, that'd be very helpful.
Sure.
Yeah, I think as much as you can work with Tim and Alicia about scheduling and timing and things like that, I think that would be the most very helpful.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think the one other thing I don't know what kind of spaces you need too is, there's all that space down at the at Long Lake Park, because you got that pine grove in the back of the park as well. So if you needed to shoot some scenes or something, that's obviously something that's not being used now and really doesn't get that busy until mid-May. So, if you're looking for another good space that, is also under the jurisdiction of the Park Commission, that would be another idea, especially with some of the forest scenes and stuff.
Great. Yeah, I will definitely keep that in mind. Thank you.
You could have
And
the
even,
great
even over at like the frog pond for.
Yep.
I was going to say you could have the great fight between Tybalt and Mercutio in front of the lake.
Oh, that could be very dramatic, and yeah, the scope would be grand. It would be awesome. Yeah, I like it. You might feel very Rocky and Apollo having a fight in the beach, but that'd be okay too.
It's a modern interpretation.
Right.
Right.
All right. Any other questions? Concerns?
So if you guys want-
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say you guys can take a motion to approve the use if you wish.
Yep, I just had one question. I think it's the most important question. Where in the credits will we be, as the Park Commission? So, like we need a good credit. Like, can I be an executive producer or something, or assistant executive producer? I don't know. I'll do
I'm
something.
sure we can work something out. Yeah.
All right, prop master, grip. I don't know, anything.
You can be a key grip. Key grip.
Right?
Key grip. There you go. Best boy.
All right, so working with where we're going to be in the credits, but let's do we have a motion to approve? Oh, can we get a motion regarding this request?
I make a motion to approve the use of Park and Rec field space and playground space to be scheduled to be worked out with Alicia and Park and Rec. Is that fair enough?
Sounds good to me. We got it.
Sounds good.
A second?
Second.
All right, so a roll call. Sean.
Sean's a yes.
Mike.
Yes, Mike says yes.
Saul.
Yes.
And Kevin is a yes.
So Saul, I have to ask, is that virtual background? I jumped in a little late. Is that like, are you actually wearing a hat?
I am actually wearing a hat. Yeah.
And that's, are you outdoors?
No, the snow in the trees is virtual, but the hat is real.
Okay. Wow.
The hat is covering up my COVID hair.
Gotcha.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, feel free. It's going to be a riveting meeting. You can stick around if you really want to.
I clearly have some scheduling to work out, so
Right.
I'm gonna have to hop off. Thank you all. I'll keep
Very
you all
good.
posted. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you. All right. So moving on to posting of summer seasonal positions for 2021. I will give it over to Alicia and Tim, I guess, right?
Yeah. So on the screen in front of you, you have all of the positions that we are going to be posting for this summer of 2021. If you can believe it or not, this is the normal time for posting of jobs for seasonals. So everything that's on there, like I said, will be posted through the HR department. We'll start accepting applications. Typically, we try to get all of the interviewing done in February and early March, and hope to have everybody ready to go and slots all filled by the end of March. That's kind of our goal every year. So if you guys have any questions about any of the positions, I will say one thing that is added on there that we did change is for the Teen Adventures program, we're going to be hiring for a special course coordinator done in the past. It is a position that's always been on the books, but with us having to lay off the teen program lead, we still need someone to kind of step up into that leadership role for this program to allow our community education and teen program coordinator to be at multiple programs. So we would just hire camp leads for that position. But just because we want that program to run sustainably on its own, we're going to hire that one more supervisory role. But that's the only change.
All right. Any questions for Alicia and Tim?
What are you using as sort of a forecast of what the summer is going to look like? Are we kind of like last summer or closer to normal? What's our
We're planning for it all, Saul. We're planning. So our program coordinators are programming with the intent of running the programs like we ended last summer. However, they're also scheduling and planning if the COVID policies have changed and we would be able to do transportation and field trips. They're also trying to plan for that as well. So I think it's going to be a hybrid of what a normal year would be and, the modified year that we had last year, with the hope that, maybe we'll be able to get back to normal by the end of the summer. But like this whole year has been, we just don't know. So we're kind of planning for as much as we possibly can.
Are the staff levels going to be about the same as they were last year?
Kevin, I think that'll be similar to the same response. We'll hire and bring on the staff that's needed for the participant levels that we have. So I think right now, again, we're planning for the numbers like they were at the end of the summer last year. Sorry, Maverick decided he wanted to say hello. And if we have to be able to hire more staff because we have higher participation levels, then that's something that we.
All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Any other discussion?
And there.
So in regards to Camp T, how does that work with all the other programs, Teen Adventures, Long Lake? Are there different timelines that you actually hire on those based on numbers, or is it all at the same time you just cover the full?
If you guys approve this tonight, then we will post hopefully by the end of the week. We're working with a new HR department, so it might take a little bit more time, but our goal was to get these posted before the end of January, which is pretty common, but yeah, we do it all at the same time.
Okay.
Wow. All right. Any other discussion? Maverick is very concerned about this issue here.
I want to see Maverick. So he's doing better, right? Obviously.
All right. If there's no other discussion,
There
can we
he
get a
is.
motion?
I move that we, what do we need to do? Approve the posting of the summer seasonal positions for 2021.
I second.
All right. So, Saul.
Yes.
All right. Maverick is a yes. He's voting for everything. He's a pushover. All right, Mike.
Maverick is a yes right there. Mike's a yes.
Sean.
Yes.
And Kevin is a yes. Tell Maverick he only gets to vote once. All right.
I don't know. He goes again. Oh, God. Sorry.
Maverick is gonna make it. Oh boy, Maverick. All right, I can't see the next item, so oh, there we go. All right, so we are discussing accepting a donation from Light and Water Commission. It looks like for $1,000 to the Holiday Helpers Fund.
That's correct. So the Board of Selectmen did approve it last night. So that's something that Light and Water reached out. That was very kind of them to offer that. I think it was part of a community grant that they had. So it's up to you guys if you want to accept.
I make a motion to. Well, sorry. Go ahead, Kevin. You didn't.
No.
Go,
I was
go
going to
right-
say there's probably not going to need a lot of discussion. So can we get a motion?
That's what I thought. I make a motion to accept the donations from Light and Water Commission for $1,000 to the Holiday Helpers Fund.
Second.
All right. So voting, Mike,
Mike's a yes.
Saul,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kevin is a yes. All right, next, CPC requests, Long Lake Bathhouse. Discuss ongoing renovation and PCP request project for town meeting spring 2021.
All right. So this is still just a continuation on getting the new. It's not really the bathhouse as much as it is the new snack shack and storage building. So at this point, I've reached out to Ed in the building department as well as Chris Stoddard, and we're going to try to get together in the next week and come up with the numbers and exactly what should be put into the scope of work so that we know what we need to take. This is just a continuation of the conversation we've been having as far as being too detailed in the request. Need to get additional funds for engineering and specific trades work. That wasn't specifically called out in the first ones. So once I get with those two gentlemen and we can kind of come up with a number, I'm also going to request that Ed comes to the CPC meeting just to have the building inspector there to state exactly, you know, what we're going to be doing. That way we can move this along forward. As far as the rest of the money that we have, you know, we're going to finish up the projects that were tasked with that, which include the showers, the rope fencing that we're going to put by the parking lot, and the other just kind of landscaping work that we had planned. So once I get with Ed and Chris this week, we should be able to button up, you know, what that request is going to be to give you guys, and then go to the CPC, the next CPC meeting that we have available in February. So that is kind of what we're going to move ahead with. And, you know, hopefully having Ed there and Chris as, you know, both the town engineer and the building inspector will be able to have a good scope of what to take. And, you know, hopefully questions will be at that point minimal because we'll have exactly, you know, tied out from the gentleman certain things. Any questions on that?
Nope, I don't have any questions. Any questions? Any discussion?
Nope.
All right, we don't need to vote on anything, right?
Nope, you don't need to vote anything. The next step that I'll take is after I've spoken with Chris and with Ed, and we've met up. Once we have all the specs put together, I'll meet with Mike Lavasor, who's our CPC rep, and we'll come up with the plan to go to the CPC meeting and what we need to do next.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Tim. Any questions, any concerns?
This is the building we're talking about, by the way.
Very pretty.
Hey, folks, I have to step out for a sec.
Oh, nope, you're right there, Mike. We can see you. All right, so director's report. I will leave it to you, Alicia.
You're still muted.
I got him, Saul.
No, he was talking about me. I'm still muted. So Tim, if you want to go ahead and flip over to the next slide for me, please. We always do our review of the monthly finances. So 20, not a great month. We were in the negative, but December tends to be our month of least amount of revenue. And there's some other factors which we'll talk about on the next. But you can see, you know, according to the MyRec graph, that, you know, this was the one month that we kind of did less than the previous year. And like I said, we'll talk about some of those reasons on the next slide. So I just wanted to give you guys those basic numbers that we have as far as the revenue. We always add in the split up amount from the transfer from the town general fund, what our expenses were and what our wages were for the month. Expenses were a little bit higher this month because it's the end of a fiscal year for most. We operate on a different fiscal year, which is June and July. So I think there was a lot of bills that came in that people were trying to get, you know, sorted out before the end of their fiscal. Any questions about December? No? All right, Tim, you want to switch over to year to date? Awesome. All right, so the year to date, like we're still in the positive, which is fantastic. So some of the things that I said we would talk about on this next slide were, you know, we should be seeing hopefully a bump up in February. So typically we open our summer registrations as July 1st. We were encouraged by the previous treasurer of the town to work out a system where we would, I guess, compartmentalize the payments to make the accounting more realistic looking. So we're trying to play around with some options here as far as, you know, all of the, we're only taking payments for Camp T or the summer programs for the first 2 weeks. And then all other payment will be due after July 1st. We're trying to create that separation. But we will be opening the programs for summer relatively soon. So we should see a bump up in February. Some of the lost revenue for this past month, we in the past were able to do a really big elementary and you know, a fair amount for middle school for a ski and snowboard program where we would transport the kids. So this year we are doing a family version of that with Wachusett, but the numbers aren't anywhere near where they were with the kids. So, you know, it's still a really awesome program, but it's not the amount of revenue that we had typically had. We're also not offering bus trips anymore, or have not been since COVID. And then we also don't have any indoor locations or access to the school for after-school programming. So for us, right now, we're working out everything with O'Neill or using we just started using the VFW hall for some programs, since the other locations are still not open to public events, programs, things like that. We're also not running the teen after-school program, which usually is a good source of income throughout the year. And then our adult indoor sports like basketball, volleyball, and soccer, we have not been able to run those, which typically we do run year-round. Revenue that we would make on a typical year that we're not getting in at this point in time. So that's kind of the, why, what's going on. Hopefully we'll see an increase, like I said, in February. But yeah, any questions, comments, concerns?
Just so I understand, so we're in the black for 2020, over $75,000
Correct.
during a pandemic.
Yes.
You guys did a hell of a job.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's
Not
possible.
much.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we typically run like $1 million through the department. So, this is a little bit of a razor's edge for us. So I know it seems like a lot. And in my personal life, I look at that number and say, whoa. But on the professional side, working for the department, we are kind of eking by, because there's still a lot that we have to cover over the next, January. So February, March, April, May, June. So we've got 5 more months that 76,000's got to stretch out over.
Okay.
So
I'm curious about the adult sports. Did the organizations decide not to run, or did we decide that we couldn't run those programs based on guidance?
So we run those, the indoor sports leagues. Well, they're kind of like pickup games, really. The schools, have to kind of be on lockdown to make sure that they're keeping the school sanitary for when the kids are there. And so we have not been able to run any programs in the school since COVID has occurred, essentially. We did get to use, I should say, Shaker Lane for the summer. We did get to do that, but the rest of the year while school has been in, we have not had access to any of that space. So it's kind of a combination of, yes, the COVID policies and procedures and following the guidelines. And also it is a lack of access to space. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right. I don't know if everybody's frozen or not. You flip to the next slide. Oh, new business. All right. So let's see here. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
The new business slide seems blank. Is that?
Yep.
Nope. There we go.
Okay.
Now we're in old business.
So, Tim, if you can actually close down the PowerPoint for a second, I'm going to put up another one. So the second part of the director's report was just to go over with you all the presentation, the budget hearing, which will be on the 19th. So we're going to stick with the original time of 8:30. I know I said on this slide that we were going to change it to be determined, but I talked to our finance director and we're going to stick with the same time that we had. So that's just, if you one of the questions that I wanted to have with all of you after I go through the presentation is if there's going to be more than 2 commissioners attending, I need to know that so that I can put in a joint meeting request, just so we're following the open meeting rules. So let me pull this up. And then I should be able. All right, so I'm just going to keep it the small, oh, I don't know why John's coming in, but, so I'm going to keep it just on the smaller slides for right now. Okay. So this is just a preview. If you guys have concerns, anything that you want me to change or things that you think I should add, please feel free to add them along the way. I've taken some feedback from previous budget years and short and concise, especially since they're definitely going back to the system of doing everything all on one night. So the main piece to cover is for the staffing. The 2 changes, and these are possible changes, we'll only be implementing these if we can fully fund these roles through the department program fees. So one is and this is something that, we had gone through this process to have it approved last year. But the administrative assistant role would go from 25 hours to 40 hours a week. We really do need coverage in the office. It's really difficult for us to, essentially we lose office coverage at 2. So then it's up to us to, deal with the phones and all the front desk stuff from 2 to, 4 or 5. So, we really do need that assistance in long term. So it was approved through the budget process last year, but it was declined by the TA's office because we had the funding deficit last year. So that's something this is more of a briefing the Board of Selectmen and FinCom on these things that potentially could happen if we have the funds to be able to do them internally. So the second is that, we laid off the full-time position of the team program lead, and we'll be reorganizing so that we can bring in another program coordinator position. So we can have more dialed concentration from our coordinators on the areas where we need to focus. So I think, we also need help out at the beach. This is could turn into like an aquatics director in the summertime. So there's many areas of the department that we need to cover. And that's something that Tim and I will be working on is, creating what that job description would look like. So that's it for staffing right now. Anybody have any question?
Nope.
Nope. All right. Budget issues. Again, just going through the 2 things. So one is just to talk about the special events. It's something in fiscal year 20, we requested a transfer of $20,000 from the PRCE reserve fund to essentially fund these special events. During this past year with COVID-19, that money went into kind of helping the departments stay afloat. So that's something that, essentially Tim doesn't have that money to do the special events in which he had in the past. So, we would go through the same process that we did in the past. We genuinely don't want to take much money out of our reserve. That's something we are trying to build up. But I think in this case, if we are to continue doing special events, which I know that are much needed, we do a very good job at it. And that's part of Tim's job responsibilities. So, we need to fund that account line to make sure that he can do that moving forward next year and years to come. So that's one piece. And then the special needs, I always kind of talk about this issue that it's a continued issue that affects our ability to collect revenue. So, we really do need support from the select board, from FinCom, from the town administrator's office, for us to be able to move forward and get that space. All right, moving on. And then the capital requests, we're just talking about the statistically valid survey. So that's one request for $30,000. And then the second is the major equipment and repairs for $40,000. We've gone through those a ton. So I'm not going to reiterate all of that stuff with you. And that's it. Any questions, comments, concerns?
What kind of playground repair is required?
What's that?
What kind of playground repair is required?
So on Castle in the Trees, there's the mallets for the sound equipment are like the bane of my existence. They always crack off. So we have to replace those. I think there was some repair to the xylophones. There's just little maintenance issues that we need to take care of at Castle to keep it up to its best. And then I took down the swing set at Fay Park just because it's been there for so many years. And my intent was to take it down and, replace it. But then COVID happened. So it got taken down, but then we've never put anything back up. But the question that we really have to discuss is, do we need that infrastructure to be there to start doing those other additions to the park? So what I mean is, do we first look at being able to make parking happen, which is something I've talked with Highway about, and it seems like we have a really good option to be able to put parking out at Fay Park. So I think we need to talk about some of those ground issues before we move forward with doing, just throwing in a swing set. But it is something that, we will have to do eventually.
Now, the resurfacing of the basketball courts, granted, I didn't see them much last year, but, previous years, they seem in pretty good condition. Is there something I'm missing?
So it's just something that you typically have to kind of keep a step ahead of it, because you have to go through a whole bid process to make sure, you've got the right company, or not right company. That's not what I want to say, because it's going to be an expensive repair. There's a lot of hoops that we have to go through to make that, no pun intended, happen. And we're looking at our basic maintenance of an item like the resurfacing of basketball courts. Believe it or not, we are actually in that time frame. We also need to inspect all of the hoops and all of that too. So that's another added cost that I should add on there as well. So we'll have to get an inspector in to do all of that.
Okay.
Is there like an inspection and criteria for the surfacing, or is it scheduled, or how does that happen?
So when we get the sign off, like let's say you create a new, let's say a tennis court or a basketball court, or like Castle in the Trees, you're given your punch list and told these are the things that you need to start looking at doing at this certain time frame. So, I know we've had some drainage issues with the courts. And so that's something, it's a good time to be able to look and see if it's something that, we can make happen this next year. If not, it's right around the corner.
Drainage is just because it's really well done. It's very flat. But, as far as, again, I'm going back pre-COVID, and I don't think there's a better, as they're surfaced right now, there isn't a better court out there, outdoor court. There isn't. There's a reason why they're busy. So if we had to prioritize, I don't know if I put that on high on the list, but I'm sure there are other, if there are other items that you,
The point is there's a lot of items that we need to start planning for.
Sure.
So, in the past, we haven't really given them a list of the major equipment and repairs, like what we're planning on doing. So this year, I wanted to be able to have that list for them of items that needed to be accomplished.
okay.
Yeah, I guess I think we want to make sure that we're, explaining why, or, what the criteria is for that resurfacing. If we're seeing cracks or we're seeing whatever that is, if they look like they're in great shape and it can go another year, then, planning for it definitely, but just making sure we have an understanding of what the rationale is.
Absolutely. And the reality is we have a lot of stuff down at the beach that we need to replace boats. We've had boats down there that are really old and very, very patched. So, we need to look into things like that. We also have the leak in the wall, and, fixing the roof is something that's been on the to-do list for a while as well. So we really
That to me
need to
seems
start
like
ticking off these.
yeah. That seems to me to be a pretty big one, fixing the roof, from a priority
Oh, yeah.
standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because that'll save us money on the tight tank and getting that pump. So,
Yeah.
that definitely would be pretty high up on the list.
Yeah. And even the boats, from a liability standpoint, I think, that's a pretty high priority too, I would think.
That's fair. Yeah. Anything else? I will stop sharing now. Sam, you want to put the other one back up? Please.
I'm never in the dining room and my dog is looking at me like, what are you doing?
So the ones after the park commission, or sorry, after the director was new business, which we have no new business. Old business, I put this on here if there was anyone that needed to come and speak. I haven't heard back from the Littleton Cultural Council if they've talked about maintenance or anything, but I'll get back in touch with them and see if there's any update on the rock garden project. But as far as tonight, I hadn't heard anything. That's it, kid.
All right. Anything? Oh, wow. We got no business. We got nothing else. So do we get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All right. Yeah, fourth. All right. Maverick, what's your vote? So Mike.
Coco
On
says,
adjournment.
Coco says yes. Can you see her?
Yeah. She looks tired. Saul.
Yes.
Sean.
No.
All right, Kevin's a yes. So Sean, you're out of here. We're gonna censure Sean from this point on, I think. All right, so that's it.
Thanks, Kevin, for running. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
See you guys. Good night.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon. Good job, Tim and Alicia.